Hey, welcome to the Peanut Gallery. We are excited. We've been doing a bit of a series on small town and what has happened during this whole pandemic. And today I'd like to welcome Scott Lewis to the Peanut Gallery podcast. Yeah, we're excited to have him here. Some of that is because we don't want him to wreck our cars the next time we bring him in. You know, we're excited for that. But Scott Lewis has been, he's just up the road here from the Peanut Gallery. His address is 6728 Springfield Road. You could check him out at scottlewisauto.com to be able to find out more information about him. But I just recommend if you got a vehicle.
That isn't a paid advertisement yet.
Yeah, it's not a paid advertisement.
Yet is the key word there.
But you can, I recommend if you need your car worked on, bring it into Scott. He's awesome, not just with cars, but he's awesome with people. And I think a fantastic place to be able to do your business with. So Scott is here. We want to talk a little bit about the pandemic, the impacts, all that kind of stuff. We want to talk politics. We want to talk funny customers, not just me, but we want to talk funny customers. But I want to know a little bit about when did you decide that, automotive, I'm going to be a mechanic, I'm going to have my own shop, and then Malahide, how here in Mount Salem?
Well, first off, thanks, Patrick, for having me here today at the Peanut Gallery. It was quite exciting when you come down and asked me about, hey, we're doing this podcast. It's like, would you mind coming down and giving us a little input of your, insight on the community? And I said, yeah, thanks. It'd be great. I'd love it. And thought about it all night long. And yeah,
we should have filmed yesterday because we were rolling in the parking lot for like 15 minutes. And I'm like, good. Where is Trevor? Yeah. Where is Trevor? This is perfect. But
I like good conversation.
I'm excited that you're here. I've always enjoyed having conversations with you. So how did we get to the point where Mount Salem, Scott Lewis Auto, you're here? What's a little bit of your backstory?
So as a young man, I was a little bit, I guess Dad said you couldn't hold me down, sort of, in a sense. So Dad took me to Fanshawe College for a small engines course at the age of about 11. And that was to keep me occupied a little bit. And I actually did very well at it, better than he did, actually. And from there, I pursued it. As a kid in school, I had a hard time at Davenport here in Elmer. They got to know me very well, unfortunately. I actually sit on with my principal then, who suspended me 26 times in 3 years. I sit on council with him right now. So it's actually awesome. Sort of nice that he sits right beside me because back then they didn't know what I was going to be.
Right.
They said, you're smart, you've got what it takes, you won't apply yourself.
Right.
And you learn as you grow up, you just change. So, yep. But yeah, then my dream was to own a garage. It was, I'm going to be a mechanic, I'm going to fix stuff. My dad gave me a 77 Dodge Valari, the very first car, and said, it doesn't run. You do what you want to do. If you can make it run, you can have the car. So I asked people and asked advice, and it was Jerry's Garage in Avon. Told me about this little ballast resistor thing that they had. Chrysler had a problem with. I changed that. The car fired up. I drove it up to the house, and Dad just shook his head and said, it's yours. Do with it what you want.
That is awesome. I love that story.
Yeah,
every parent out there, that's how you get your kid the first car.
Yeah.
So go find a clunker and say, if you can make it run, you can have it.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I love that.
So, yeah, and then it was just I started at Canadian Tire, actually. Right out of high school.
Here in Elmer?
Elmer Canadian Tire. Yeah.
So the one down in the valley there?
Yeah, it was, back then it was, yes. Yeah. Bob Avis was the service manager. Went from there to Northside Garage. And then I actually ran Goodwills for 9 years after that.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I've been around the block here a little bit. I've been here in Mount Salem for 23 years now, actually, with the garage.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's
in
good.
One spot. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
I like that. That's awesome. Yeah. So you already shared your first car.
Yep.
Okay, so I had a question because I've been rolling in my head.
Here we go.
Well, you've had a lot of really cool cars in your parking lot that people have been bringing in to do maintenance and to do some upkeep, and a lot of old classic cars.
Yep.
And for me in my head, I remember my dad, he would take me to car shows all the time. And it was the way that he would try to connect with me because he was an old car guy. From his Chevelle and
Family Time.
He had a Super Bee and he had that got kicked out the door when he got married because it was like, you have too many payments on this car. I want a house. So, but if you could pick a car, if you could pick a classic car, any car, what car would you want to have as like your car? Like this is the one that you would like to get in and go for a ride, go cruise the drag. Not Elmer because it's only like 2 minutes, but like you go for a ride. What would you like to have?
Oh, I own it. I own a Trans Am, Pontiac Trans Am. I own my dream car.
Pontiac Trans Am. Do you got the roof that comes off and the T-top on that?
No, this was not a T-top.
Not a T-top?
No. no.
What's the year on that you have?
It's a 78, just like Smokey and the Bandit car.
Is it a Smokey and the Bandit car?
Smokey and the Bandit car. Yeah. Yes,
So
it is.
hypothetically, what maybe high speed or like what would an average speed be when you drive this thing through Mount Salem? Because I've heard some rumbling. Like I'm just not sure if that's you that I'm hearing going through.
Oh, the Peanut Gallery's totally got it wrong. I am a public official, and I go through at 40 kilometers an hour when the lights are flashing.
Very commendable. Very commendable.
55 when they're not.
I am very commendable. I am very appreciative of that kind of, community awareness.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
Man,
No speeding, Peanut Gallery.
I actually
So
anticipated.
prior to your public service.
Oh, I can't remember that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I'm
could?
sorry, Patrick.
You know what? Bygones be bygones. You know what? I think it's important.
We all make mistakes.
It was different back then. Back
It
then.
was.
The stories my parents tell me. I mean, my dad used to tell me that they would go down to Port Stanley to the Stork Club, and on the way back, and I mean that it used to be all sorts of big bands would go through there and stuff, and they would come home, and if you were too far gone, and the authorities noticed, they would basically just take your keys, drive you home, and you come pick up your keys tomorrow. And things have changed a little bit with how things offer. So
yes.
I could see how the past is the past.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah. So Peanut Gallery is alive and well today. I like to see that. That's really good. So for me, I thought about this a little bit. I'm a truck guy. So anything that's like a 60s and 70s truck, I would be like, not from mechanics point of view, but just from like the look of the vehicle. I love those older trucks. I just think there's something about them, the way they're geared, the way they sound, the way there's something about it. But that's what I would jump into. But
I think you're relating it too much to a woman and how they're built with the body curves and stuff. I think you're getting Patrick. You're getting there. It's the body style you like.
It's the body style.
Yes.
I love you, wife, Juanita. If you're watching this, I love you. Okay, we better move on quickly here before I get in trouble.
The next time that he sees you, I'm assuming he's imagining a pickup truck.
Oh man, so pandemic hits like last year, and I mean for the most part, a lot of things kind of kept going on as normal. But what did you guys feel? What was like kind of the impact at your shop with staff, with customers? Was there anything that you kind of like noticed a pretty big change with how things were moving along? Because you guys were basically deemed essential.
Yep.
People have to drive, and vehicles need to be fixed. But like, how did it work for you guys at your shop and for business?
So at first, to be honest, I didn't really believe in it, I guess. I didn't go for it. I wasn't one to say, okay, we're going to sanitize things. We're going to do things, you want to keep it right in a sense, but yeah, it was like, okay, this can't be happening really, is what I looked at it as. Mm-hmm. And then as things progressed, we had to get more serious. Things started happening locally. And I thought, hey, we're out here in the boonies. We're not in the city. This isn't going to happen out here. We're going to keep to ourselves, and everything's going to be just perfect. And we live in a little perfect world. Nothing's going to change for us out here. Well, wow, what a slap in the face I got.
Yeah.
Because things do change, and people change it for you, and you have no control of that.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. I remember back, there was snow on the ground. I remember that. So back in the winter months, I was driving past your shop on my way to work, and it was like the parking lot wasn't cleared.
Wasn't plowed.
It was evidence that there was nobody there.
No.
And I was like, oh, where's Scott? Like, there's no flights out of town, so I know what's happening. And then I heard through the grapevine that COVID had touched close to the shop. Like there was a close contact, and the shop had it. Walk me through a little bit what happened there and the impact on the next few days and weeks ahead.
Yeah, because we got the phone call that her husband had tested positive. So at that time, we'd put everything into protocol. Everything with the masks were, sanitize everything at the front counter. Anytime people came in, try to have keys dropped. So she got the phone call saying that her boyfriend tested positive. And it's just like, okay, I just looked at her. She got off the phone. She was crying. And she says, Scott, she says, my boyfriend's positive. And I just said, okay, you need to leave now, right? Yeah. And then we'll proceed with whatever the health unit says we have to do from this day forth.
Right.
And it was not good, because you got to tell people. And it's not like she said to me that she felt like she had a disease that you had no control of. It's like, I'm going to spread something that I can't. She didn't know where she picked it up from, didn't know where it came from. So she tested positive. We had to go in and get tested. We both tested negative, but still had to quarantine. still had to shut my business down. They said, no, it's not even an option. And I said, well, I had a hard time swallowing that pill too, because we both tested negative. It's like, how can we pass it on if we haven't got it? But yeah, you do what you're told to do, and you stay home. And
you got cars in the shop, cars in the yard. You got people that
there was things that had to happen real quick, and we just called people and said, hey, come and get your car. And there was one car that sat the whole time. He just said, I can't drive it the way it was. He said, so he left it. And I was tempted to go back in, but you can't. You gotta follow the rules. It's just better for everybody. If you're at all into your community at all, you're gonna do what's right for your community and not what's right for you.
Right.
You know, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, you got to take care of your neighbor around you.
Exactly. There is no other option.
We applaud that. We've been trying hard.
Well,
but it's true. It's true. You have to make sure you take care of each other.
Oh, that's more important than
my own little universe that I would like to maintain. But I mean, that's true though. You
don't have a universe without other people though. That's the problem.
That is exactly true. I don't think it could be put any better than that.
Yeah.
So you guys shut her down. You follow your protocols.
Yeah.
I mean, and then all of a sudden I see things are kicking back up.
Oh,
so you guys went your couple weeks, and
did
you have to go get tested again? Did anybody need like a double negative test? Did Southwest Health just say you got to wait till this amount and then you can go back? Is that kind of what you guys did?
Yeah, they said it was 14 days that I had to go back. My daughter lives with me, my girlfriend lives with me. Neither one of them had to be tested unless they showed symptoms because I was negative.
Right.
They were allowed to go to work, yet I had to stay home. And I thought at first, the first 3 days, it was actually okay. You know, you're doing things around the house, you're getting things done. It's like, hey, this is all right. I get a little holiday. Because we hadn't had that holiday. They sort of looked at everybody else and said, you guys got a holiday. It's no holiday sitting home
all of a sudden,
doing
you were
nothing.
that 11-year-old kid who dad took to Fanshawe for the small, and you're just like,
I ordered an Atari thing online.
and that former principal at Davenport was like, that's the Scott I remember.
That's the guy. That's the guy. Yeah. So, but it wasn't fun after day 3. It was like, no, I want to do something. I want to get out. I want to. You get cabin fever quick. So I can't imagine people in the city. I can't imagine an apartment building.
They're locked in an apartment building.
I can't
You've got
even.
Nothing.
No.
You got your walls.
Yeah. You got to be mentally strong if you're going to stay inside of there and abide by everything and do. You've got to be mentally strong. That's all
very
there is to
difficult
it.
situation for people.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So moving forward, you guys open back up. Obviously, business has started going again. Doing what you do best. Take care of people in their cars. So how has it been since? Have you done any measures, personally speaking, to kind of like prevent that from happening again? Because from what anything that's been like close to me, I've kind of like, because like you're gonna be locked down for 14 days. Like I remember part of our peanut gallery, Albert. When he flew back in at the start of this thing, they had to quarantine like 14 days. Was it 14 or 10? 14 days when they first, like way back last year at March break, they came back and they had to quarantine for that. And that leaves a taste in your mouth. I know Trevor had to do the same thing. And that's a difficult
I had to do it twice.
Yeah.
I had to quarantine twice.
A double quarantine because of just contact, right?
Yep.
So
the second one was just because the rest of us needed a break from Trevor. So we told him, Southwest Public Health call, get off the message. Go home.
So did you pick up any different measures in your life to make sure that didn't happen again? Did you ask people around? Like, how did you like approach that afterwards? Because there is a mental side of it that says, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
So did you have a different approach after, or just more vigilant with what you were being asked to do to begin with?
Exactly. More vigilant as to what we were doing, right from the beginning. We just acted more upon it. Like we weren't doing things wrong. We didn't contract it through our workplace. So it was sort of, we sort of went as that was our saving grace. It was like that gave us the hope that we can provide good service and not put anybody at risk still.
Right.
We can do this. We can, it's not hard. You wear a mask, you wipe things down a little bit, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel well, stay home. That's something that we changed as a boss that they've never really seen before. I told them very strict. Like, I don't care if you got a runny nose, stay home. That person's car is not that important that we're going to endanger everything.
Right. Just because of the runny nose and get another customer coming in type thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's been, I've noticed even with my wife's place of work, it's been like totally flipped around where it was like, if you're walking, you're at work. You know the mentality, you know what it's like. I mean, show up. It's your job. That's what you're being paid to show up. You're not being paid, but like because of, it could shut us down and it could like totally impact everything. It's kind of like, you know what? For you to be away a day or two, to figure out what's happening is far better than us
better
being in a
than-
situation that just like catastrophically shuts everything down.
Yeah, you can't provide your service that you're there to provide.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. is to
Flips
provide a
everybody
service.
upside. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy how it changes your mentality towards that. So we've talked a little bit about cars, not a whole lot. I'm still waiting for some cool cars to come through and you to pull up out front here and for us to be like, hey, check this out. I want that moment to happen. We'll film it and we'll post it. 'Cause I don't know if it's Thelma and Louise, but it's something.
Start the car.
I want to see if you actually do 40 through here.
Oh yeah.
But you've also made the decision a few years ago that you were going to get involved in community and that you were going to go even further than business. Now I understand that you've been doing community minded things for a number of years, but then you also made a decision that you were going to let your name stand, politically speaking.
Yep.
And run for an office here in the township of Malahide. Can you explain a little bit about why you decided to serve? And I mean, on top of all that, thank you for actually putting your name in the hat and being willing to serve.
it.
Because I mean, it's a lot of people like to talk, but to actually serve or actually step into something like that, it's different. But why'd you make that decision? What was your motive?
So the first thing I'll go back to is the Elmer Fair, actually. So I was helping out a little bit around there, and actually being more of a participant and taking from the fair. So you're going and you're winning prizes. You're getting your kids involved. You're trying to, and you're taking. And at some point in time, if you don't give, you can't just take. It's like money in a kitty. You can't take without giving. So when the board there said, Scott, we want you on our board. And I'll be honest with you, Patrick, I looked at him and said, you know what? You don't want me on your board. And they said, Scott, we want you on our board. And I said, but you don't. And the reason you don't, because what I see here is you don't want change. And if you put me in the chair, I'm going to change things. My first 6 months, I had 6 directors quit. Best thing that ever happened, though. Time for change.
Right.
So that got me back into the community.
Okay.
So I was a 2-year term as president. I retired after 10 years. I said, I got to go. I said, it was a great time and I loved it. And I had a hard time walking. But when they rely on me more than what I needed them, sort of, it's like, no, you need a new face. You need to you need to move on, sort of. But the minute I got out of that, I went stir crazy. It's like I got no connections now in the community. I have nothing input. I can't change anything. I can't do anything.
Right.
Well, you want to do something? Put your name in for council, I was told by an old guy one day. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to try.
Some old boy chirps you.
Old boy chirped me and
You're
said,
complaining
Scott,
about not having, and he's like, well, put your name in there.
Put your name in there. So I actually went against the smartest guy there. And the reason I did that was because the smartest guy could be the smartest guy, but if your attendance is the bare minimum and you don't make it to anything, it don't matter how smart you are because you're not contributing.
Right.
So that's what I looked at, and I went, you know what, I'm going to try it. It's Port Bruce area. Yeah. So I thought, you know what, they know me a little bit, not maybe as good as this area does, but that wasn't the point. The point was I'm going to try against a man that isn't doing the job that he got elected to do.
Right.
And I got in and it was like, woo, this is awesome. And then I was scared. It's like, oh,
what did I do?
What did I do now?
what are they going to ask of me?
What are they going to, yes. So
Whoa, I'm tearing the place apart. We're having too much fun.
You're getting excited, Patrick. But no, and it was good. It was, after that, it's been total involvement. I love it. You don't get to make decisions. You get to be the voice of your community.
Right.
You get to say, okay, like, things go on, they come and they want your help. It's like, I can feed you this, I can get you that. I have no problem giving somebody bad news too, because it's not always the glamour that you think it is, actually. Right. There's a lot of, you got to say, sorry, that's not going to happen, but for this reason. Right. Sometimes the people can't find that reason why things aren't happening in their community or why they can't have their way.
And if you can connect them to that reason, you actually help them to be able to move past what they're
Get over it.
Right.
Yes, let's make it work another way maybe. Look at an alternative, do something different.
So how long have you been in this capacity? I didn't actually check the history of how long you've been serving on.
2 years in council now.
2 years in council now.
2 years now.
Oh wow!
So we got another.
What does a commitment look like? Like when you join council, what is that? Once a month?
You're a couple meetings a month, and then you're on certain boards. So you're on the complex board, the option of being on the police board, the water board. There's about 6 different boards that you have an option of being on. There's a couple that are mandatory boards that you sit on. So it's. I wouldn't say you're going to do it if you haven't got a little time to commit, because if you haven't got time, you can't do the job you've been elected and told people that you can do, really. So
So it is an important thing to carve out some of your schedule to make sure that
Oh,
you
you
can
have to.
actually
You have
fulfill
to.
that commitment. So
Oh, yeah.
you're not just a title holder. You're actually
Well, you can be. Some are, I think.
right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They blow their horn hard at elections time, promise the world, and then they just like water down the creek, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're gone. Whereas I've never been like that. People come to me all the time. I'm right here in the community, and I tell people, you don't need to wait till after hours. If you got a problem that matters that much to you, then let me know. You put my name on the card, and if you didn't, well, you will next time if I can help you.
Right.
Really. So I take the time now. I'm not. Cars can wait till tomorrow. Nothing's. You
So
just
that
take
explains some of
time.
the delay on my Buick.
Well, I don't know.
We all understand the Buick.
Well, I understand the Buick.
Yeah, not a clue. Which is why I rely on guys like you. I'm like, that is above my pay grade.
Yeah.
I am not. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So you anticipate, you've been at it for 2 years. Your term is 4.
Yes.
So you're anticipating, by the sounds of it, that you would like to go for a second round.
Oh, I'm going second round.
Oh, I like to hear that.
I'm going second round.
That's awesome. You're not done yet.
Oh, no, I'm just learning.
So the question that we said we wouldn't ask you, like second round is counselor or like
Yeah, I think I'm safe to say a second round will still be counselor. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a little too green to step up the ladder. I think. Yeah. I need more. I need more.
There's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross when you learn how everything works in the community, right?
More than you can even imagine.
Yeah, like just having a few minimal conversations with you about some of the things that we got going on, and then how it ties in from Malahide to the bigger Elgin County, and then how the cities play into everything, and how that whole network is, and then the importance of, like, you're 2 years in, but you're building relationships as part of your time, right? With all those different people that are in those different positions, and that has as much to do with anything as the ideas that you present.
Oh, the value to that has been astronomical. Getting involved in my community, everything I've done for the last probably 15 years, there's everything in Mount Sal and Malahide. There's everything here. I've had my house was built by a guy that's local. I had my electrician done, by plumbing done, gas done. There's nothing, but people don't know what's in our back door, like in your backyard, locally. So by being involved in your community, you do find out what's there. And it's a lot better than dealing with somebody out of the city, getting somebody local to do your stuff. They're there when you pick up the phone to call them at 8 o'clock and say you got a problem. They know who you are.
Right.
There's a benefit to that.
Yeah, you're not just a part of
Just
the
a
bottom
number.
line. Yeah. You're actually a relationship they
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Small town, it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's best.
It's one thing that I've really enjoyed about moving to Elmer and being part of that community. I think it's really, really cool. I have no idea. I've lost track of time. I've lost track of microphone. I've lost track of everything this one. I'm like wadding things around. So I have at least, I'm at 20 minutes apparently or something like that. So we have a little bit more time to talk.
Good.
So mechanic, pandemic. I mean, what are some of the things that you've noticed from your constituents that has impacted them when it comes to them being able to walk through this time? What are some of the things that you've had in the last few months of people coming to you and saying, Scott, like what are you seeing happening on the ground level? What are the difficulties that people are having with this?
The biggest thing, because being a garage owner is like being a bartender.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hear it all.
I bet.
And not as much now because we don't get the socialness that I've had for the previous 17 years, where you'll sit there and they'll rant and you hear things that you don't even want to know. Trust me.
I want to at this moment go, okay, best story, Scott. Best story. There's got to be a really good story that you can tell related to mechanics or not related to mechanics that you could tell. Not that I'm trying to get any sort of thing stirred up here, but there's got to be something good that's happened while you've been at the garage that you just kind of go, really?
Oh, I've seen everything. I don't even know where to start. I've seen it all. I've seen husbands do things, and I look and say, like, is there an insurance claim coming? Is there things aren't put together right? There's no bolts in things. Like it's just it's sort of, I do the odd post on some of them because I've had it's unreal.
What is happening here, right?
I can't believe some of the things I see. I don't know why and how. I really, God has had a finger on that thing until it got to me. Because if he didn't, they wouldn't have got there. They would have been dead. Oh yeah, I swear. Sometimes there's a big guy up there. I swear, and he takes care of a lot of people.
People don't even know this kind of stories, which is fascinating to me because you're just like, this shouldn't have happened. There's no way that this vehicle
Physically, it shouldn't have made it to my shop.
You have no idea how many miracles have happened just for people bringing their vehicles to Scott Lewis Auto. You have no idea. You should write a book.
There's this thing that I keep seeing on social media, and it's this thing that mechanics will do. It's like a series basically called customer states, and it'll be like customer states that rear right wheel is wobbling or not like braking correctly or whatever, and then they take the wheel off and there's no rotor there, and it's like just totally shredded, and they're like, oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, that's not anti-brakes. That's the vents in the middle of your rotor.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you see, go ahead.
So I'm going to take it a bit of a different route, but I'm curious, so you're obviously very passionate about Malahide.
Yes.
What would you see as a vision? Like, what are you hoping personally, kind of the next 4 years as you're running? Because we're going to come out of this pandemic.
Oh yeah. For sure. For sure.
What's your vision for this township moving forward?
Well, vision for moving forward is I can see, I know of certain things that are coming, big change as far as residential properties being spread out in the rurals. That's going to stop. That's got to stop. And then you're going to see communities start to flourish. So we need, if you want to flourish, like Thorndale's a prime example of a place that has done very well with very good decisions, because if you build things properly, people will come. And Thorndale is the prime example of that, because they have a beautiful community now. And 10 years ago, it was like Avon. Like it was just things rolling through the town and nothing happening.
Right.
So you're going to see, I think, Springfield area probably get built up a little bit of residential. You're going to see this area change a little bit. So there's certain areas that they're saying are delegated for growth. And hopefully it does grow, because you can't sustain life and keep a community rolling without growth. So people want less taxes, and they want more service, and they want this, and it's wants, which is great, but that comes at a cost. And if you're not willing to grow to bring in more revenues, your hands are tied. You're at a max. You're capped. You're done. The show's over. And you can't have that. That's not what it's all about. So,
and with no growth, you actually enter into like a negative impact.
Oh, for sure.
Because everybody else is.
Well, they start going. They start leaving, actually,
Right.
because they're looking for things. They got a family. They want schools. They want businesses. They want things that you're not providing.
Right.
And we're lucky here. Like, we've got it all. And yeah, we just need to tune it in a little bit. That's all.
I'm interested in how all that tuning in is going to take place. That is a very
Oh yeah, you get the right people behind the ship, and you can charter waters that have never been chartered before.
Now I understand, like Springfield, I've heard about like different housing developments and stuff like that behind the scenes, 400 or 500 lot kind of subdivision.
Yeah.
That's a massive increase to that community.
Yeah. But it's not just for that community, because you'll bring people in. As soon as you bring people, you can't be successful without people.
Right.
Right? So as soon as you bring that in, you'll bring in fresh ideas. You're going to get a guy like me that comes along and says, hey, I'm going to open up a shop. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fabricate this. And that's just one more thing that your community has in its back pocket now.
Right.
Really. So to welcome growth is, I think, the best thing. It's the only thing. You can't not. If not, you're just cutting your own hands off.
So my final question, then this side of the peanut gallery will shut up at least.
This is good. I like it.
Well, you know what? One of my concerns, and a lot of people's concerns, is that people are not involved enough in municipal politics. So coming into COVID, when you talk about previous elections and stuff, people, they complain a lot, but they're not really engaged. And my generation is a perfect example of that. We have all the answers, but we don't want to run for any positions. So we're hoping to change that. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to run against you, because frankly, I'm scared of you, so I won't. You'll hijack my car. But if somebody were interested, because we're trying to get people to at least consider it, what would you say? What are the things that you should factor in before you let your name stand?
Things you factor in before you put your name in. Well, you'd want to know what's going on. You want to know what you're getting into. So like to watch a council meeting, like that's what I did for probably 6 months before I went, actually. I went to council meetings. I wanted to get a little insight of what, but I don't think somebody that's not community involved is going to walk right up and just do it, because you've got to be a community-based person. And as far as that goes, if you want something, anybody can do anything. You want to be a voice and you want to make a difference, you can do it. That's all there is to it. But you've got to, you got to be honest. You got to be on and it's got to come from the heart. You gotta, you gotta want it. And if you want it, it'll happen. That's just you. I got knocked down the first time around. I just did it for a joke, actually. When was it, 2016 or something? I actually did it, and I'll say it now. I did it sort of as a, and I lost by 40 votes. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again, Like,
that's a joke that could have backfired.
well, exactly. Yes. But it was a learning curve too, and yeah, it was something that I learned from it. But I would love to see more people step up and play it, because people. I tell the one thing that we did at the fair board that I learned from somebody else. It wasn't my idea. We tell the board of directors, say, hey, we'll listen to all the problems you have. No problem. Bring all your problems. Bring a solution with your problem. If you haven't got a solution for your problem, I don't want to hear your problem, because anybody can come up with a problem. But to come up with a solution, that's a little different. So, yeah, I like solving problems. That's why I'm a mechanic. We try to figure out in our pumpkin up here what's going on and try to make the connection go through, right?
What did we refer to this as again?
Pumpkin.
I'm getting closer.
Well,
We've had this
pumpkin
conversation.
changes colors. Mine does too.
I'm not too far away from having a pumpkin.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're still in a peach. You got a little fuzz yet, eh?
I don't even know what to say. Yeah, now I'm the young branch. Oh, man, I usually get to pull that card out on people, so it's always fun when it gets pulled back out on me. It's the best thing. So things are changing in Malahide. You want to keep running for office. You're still very engaged at your shop. What's more? Like, what do you see yourself?
I'm at the prime. I'm at the best. I can't, and I tell people I've got about 5 more years in me of doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I can just tell my body's starting to say, hey, love it still. Dealing with people's a little trickier. Times have changed that way.
Yeah.
People's expectations are a little bit higher than they used to be. They aren't as educated on things, and they choose not to be educated on things, but yet they have a very strong opinion about it. So, YouTube fixes everything, and videos like people, and I use it myself. I won't say I don't, but man, when people bring me a car and they say, well, I looked on the video and it shows, well, that video was time lapse. There's no way that's going to happen in 20 minutes, man. That guy did that for 3 hours, like they don't get it. They don't, you can't restore a car in a 1-hour TV show, man. But I just swear there's people that come that think you can do it in a day.
Huh.
That's the mentality change that's happened. So as long as you're willing to learn and change with people, you'll do great. You smile and you go home. But yeah, I'm done well. I've learned a lot. I'm still learning every day. And as long as people like you come along, and the peanut gallery a little bit too, but
they're good peanuts. They're good peanuts. A little roasted, and sometimes salty. They're good peanuts.
Very salty. I know what he drives.
Yeah. Remember that. Yeah. So what do you see first as like something? I know this would be a hard thing given what you've already stated about your makeup as a man. And like how you like to have your hands on, you like to be doing stuff. What do you see yourself stepping out of first, or what do you see like you want to continue doing because you feel like you can? What do you think you would like? Okay, mechanics. I might do a little bit on the side, or have somebody else kind of mainly do it. Or do you want to keep kind of wrenching a little bit? Do you want to keep? Or do you think when you're going to be done, you're just going to be like, I think I'm done? And
when I think I can pull the trigger, I'll pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So Mount Salem will get I've already decided to do either a laundromat or a car wash. Coffee shop was in there for a little while, but I don't think I want the coffee shop thing. But so yeah, I'll probably never sell. So I always want to be. That's what me and my daughter had a conversation here a little while ago, and she was saying, "Dad, what's going to go on when you decide to?" And I said, "You know what? I don't think I'll ever sell." Because she was talking about selling and this and that. I said, "No, because when you own something, you own a piece of your community. So you actually have a piece of your community." And it costs you to have that piece of community, but use it and utilize it, and you'll flourish from it, and your community will flourish from it. So as this place changes around here, which is going to happen in the future, of course, that's going to have to change, right? And that's just the way of the world. That's, but I'll always have something in the community. I'll always, but it'll probably be that I back out of first. And when I back out of that, then I might take the Peanuts Gallery's advice and step up the political ladder a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I'll always
Are we
stick
talking
around.
like Doug Ford level? Or like, how high are we going on this?
We won't go Doug Ford level. No, those are big shoes to
Do
fill.
you speak French? I'm
Yeah,
just wondering.
bullshit, no.
Come on,
No, that's about the limit.
That was good though. That was really good.
Carry the accent well.
Yeah, not bad at all. So, I mean, I think that's your statement that you made, and I think I really appreciate how you said that, is that when you own, like, a lot of times we just think of the house that we buy as that's our house. But you're actually not just buying your home, you're actually buying a piece of the community.
Oh, yeah, it's a
I think
piece of
that's
the puzzle.
a really cool way to think about how you're supposed to be also within your community. Like, it's not just your little bubble. You're also a part of a greater whole because you decided to buy land or purchase a business or buy a house in that area. Like, it actually is more than just you. And I think that's a really healthy way for people to have to look at that, because I think some of that's been lost. And I don't know if that's been lost just because of the newer generation and how we
greed.
view things. Yeah.
It's greed.
It's greed.
It's just greed. It's money. It's just what it is.
Preach, Scott, preach.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, I've really appreciated our conversation here today. I think there's been a lot to it. There's a lot of stuff I think in what we've talked about today that if people would take time to listen to, that it really challenge them to how they think about things and their own involvement. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing in our community. Thank you for the commitment you've made. Thank you for still being here. It matters to us. And thank you for taking care of us and our families with taking care of our vehicles. And thanks for joining us on our podcast. It's been awesome. It's been a blast. Hope to have you back again another time.
I would love to come back again another time and tell more stories and have a good couple laughs.
Maybe we should just have a story time with Scott.
Monthly story.
You need to hear what this customer did. This is awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining the Peanut Gallery today. Like, subscribe.
very much.
And if you need to contact Scott, you can listen to the start of the podcast. You'll hear all the information there again. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.